There it goes. Yeah. Bill, I was just telling Bart that I'm a Calgary native. I lived there till I was 14. So
Uh-huh.
watching Rad really takes me back to I left there a couple years before you shot the movie, but it really takes me back to that time and place. I got a lot of affection and I guess nostalgia for it.
Do locals have nostalgia for it? Is
Oh,
it
I think
known?
so. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean, because you shot in like Bonas Park, which I think is one of the most famous places in Calgary that everybody would hang out at in the summer.
Oh,
And
really?
and I live in Wisconsin now, which is similarly temperature. But yeah, I mean it's people love it there the same they love it everywhere, right? Uh, yeah. So do you guys remember the first time you met?
I'm not sure, Bill.
Yeah.
I know I showed up on set. Maybe you guys already been shooting for 4 or 5
Yeah.
days by the
Yeah.
time I got there. So
Yeah.
you were the
Uh,
big movie star. I was just the Olympic
no,
dude
I
who
was
got
not
hired
the
at the
big
last
movie
minute.
star.
Yeah,
Bart was a rock star at this time, and these guys
yeah.
had taken over the planet. What, a year previous? Not even that
Mm,
long. So 40
mm.
years ago, but a year previous, these guys were literally golden. And so uh, he he has an aura about him. He certainly did at the time because he had this reputation that just preceded him. So he didn't have to do anything to be cool. He was it. He was it, dude. So
Uh,
the people I hung around with mostly on the set were actors, and then Bart comes on, and he's a different animal. Couldn't have been nicer, right? Couldn't have been cooler, but man, it took me several times with Talia Shire, with Bart, with Jack Weston, that you just kind of had to take your breath and go, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is who I'm doing it with. I can't believe this is happening. But at the time, it's just the game I was in, and everybody else I knew was in the same game, or my crowd was. So it seemed natural, but yet Bart, there are times where you know you're through the looking glass, and you couldn't have imagined this instance and this coming together, and Hal Needham and Hell Track and Bart and the stunt riders. I mean, it was overwhelming. And the question I'm most often asked is, did you know at the time that this was going to have an impact? I'm like, yeah, I was real sure of it. Nobody'd seen Hell Track. Nobody'd seen a backflip on a bicycle before. We had seen this kind of love story, but never in this setting and never with these athletes. I was not aware of the BMX world at this level. Were you, Bart?
no, not at all. Although, I live in Oklahoma and we used to have the BMX Nationals here every year. So I knew it was a big deal to a certain group, of young men mostly. But no, I didn't really. In fact, it was fun meeting you, Bill, when I went up on the set because there were everybody has their own tribe, right? There's the production crew, they kind of hang out. There's the, actors and actresses and stuff, they kind of hang out. Then there was the BMX riders and pros. And I was not one of any of those tribes. So I just sort of showed up and did my thing, but I felt very welcomed by everyone. And of course, the connector for all of us was Hal Needham, and Hal is, still his reputation still resonates in Hollywood, and always will because he's, with his reputation as kind of a badass movie maker and a Hollywood stuntman, he had to make sure that everything about Rad was like badass. And I think that's one of the reasons it still resonated with kids is because, the track was outrageous. It couldn't have been just like a regular track. The scenes, it was all legitimate riding, right, Bill? I mean, this was hard. And remember the first day, I think I love the story you have about the teenage kid who nobody would drop in on that first on the drop in on Hell Track because it was just death defying. And all the best riders in the world got on top of that thing. Went, "No, we're not going down." What's the story, Bill? What's the name of that kid who climbed the ladder and then chucked his
Yeah.
bike in there?
Yeah, it was Beetle Rosecrans who put a ladder on the side and dropped in halfway and then worked his way up. And what he said, his dad was on the set, Everett, and he said, I was more scared of what my dad was going to do to me on the way home if I didn't drop in on Hell Track. So going down that wall was not an issue for me. He was going to do it. So, and he was literally like 14, something like that at the time. So all the older guys are like, well, crap, he did it. Now I guess we have to. But one guy, sure enough, he showed up on set and he's like, I'm done. And he got in his van and drove back to the States. And but what a lot of people don't realize about Hal is that he was a NASCAR guy. He owned a car, what was it, the Skull Bandit, and his desire was to blow up BMX in the same fashion that he helped blow up NASCAR, which he helped blow up. He put the pit crew in sharp dress coveralls, and brought cheerleaders into the infield. He put show business into the car racing world, and he's like, we'll do this to the bike racing world and see what happens. And here we are.
He certainly understood how to shoot BMX in a way that's just as exciting as he did cars and the Smokey and the Bandit movies and the Cannonball Run movies and everything. Like, I mean, that action absolutely, like you say, that's real guys doing that. And it really has an impression even 40 years later.
Well, it left an impression on some of the writers because a lot of those wrecks were actually real. Ed took a pedal to the head. He got a concussion right there. Of course, Rick Moliterno screwed up his ankle on one of those little berms, and the Chris Phoenix, who's one of the producers on the RAD documentary, he's the one who took the face plant out of a cereal bowl. And yeah, I'm sure his bell's still ringing for that.
Wait, I didn't know that. I can't wait to see the documentary, by the way, when it comes out on the 20th. But so have you seen the documentary already?
No,
Bill?
they sent me the restoration of the film, but I have not seen the documentary. I bet there's a lot of great stories.
I didn't know he was the guy who did the face plant, because I always worried about, is that dude, is he alive?
I do remember. Okay, I do remember that. Oh yeah, that looks.
He still has a halo, but yeah, he's still.
But you guys emerged unscathed. Did you have any bumps or bruises from your?
No.
Oh, he was
just my ego.
bruised.
I lost the race. I lost the girl. I lost.
No, he was like Elvis. They had to shoot him from the waist up because he had a screwed up knee, right?
I did. I couldn't do anything because I had blown my knee out about a month before they shot the film, and so everything was basically from my waist up was real to me, and everything from my waist down was an expert double.
I have to say, as amazing as the riding sequences are in the film, what really strikes me is like the characters are so, likable, like Crew, like every Midwestern kid probably saw you, Bill, and thought that's how I would be in that situation. And Bart, like that could have been sort of a standard teen villain, like Billy Zabka and the Karate Kid, right? And but in the end, you guys are shaking hands. It's so affecting, I think. Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason it holds up and people still watch it on the way to races. I see this all the time. And when I go to events, entire families will show up in their RAD racing gear, and the little kid's named Crew looks nothing like me. And they're so happy, and they will drive for hours just to I don't know, to meet Crew and shake hands and be a part of these events. So I'm super excited they're doing RAD Day again.
Yeah. Is there an item like from the set, from the shoot, piece of clothing, a prop that you wish you had kept, or maybe you did keep?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. I think there were 3 of the 33 bikes, but I talked to the guy who owns the one from the poster. This one, can you see that? I don't know. Anyway, it's the one from the poster. It's the RL Osborne bike. I know a guy who paid, I want to say $70,000 for that bike, and that was quite some time ago.
Wow.
So very few items, were ever kept. Certainly, I didn't.
I didn't. Yeah, I wish I would have stuck a few things in my bag. Didn't even occur to me, to be honest. But I do have the jersey, the riding jersey that I had, and I had that in a box, and I've had people offer me ridiculous money for it, which I'm not selling. Says how I'm going to send my kid to college.
Wearing it?
No, I'm going to sell it so we can.
Looks like it still fits. Looks like it still fits.
It does.
Did you guys keep in touch over the years as the movie kind of had its home video release and then kind of?
Once a year, man, we
Oh.
go, we connect on RAD Day.
Oh, really?
We like it or
Okay.
not.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
We're connected. I mean, me more than him, but we'll to be able to be spoken of in the same sentence as Bart, dude. That's epic for me. You know, so it puts me in A company, and there I shall remain in my mind.
Thank you, Bill.
So you guys have either of you seen the documentary? Do you know anything about it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Bill,
we both sat down for it, and
okay.
so the nice thing about it is it's got a lot of nice footage of Hal. So it was a long time in making, and I know the pandemic slowed it down, like it slowed everything down. I mean, I'm working on a documentary that's taken 6 years, so these things take time, but finally it's out, and you'll see me with red hair. I mean, it's awesome. What everybody wants to see.
That's right.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's a good show.
Good. Well, I'm getting the wrap up signal. I do have one last question, which is that Cobra Kai just ended, and I think that's left a void in culture, which perhaps a RAD the Next Generation could fill. Do you have any interest in that? Has there ever been talk about some kind of follow-up?
Has there ever been talk about it, Bart? I like to say it's
nonstop.
yeah, it's the
That's
only
up.
thing
Okay.
it's the
Yeah.
only thing my shrink hears is RAD 2. When are we doing RAD 2? He doesn't know either.
No, no, but there's been I mean, it has been enormous amount of interest, and there's been projects started and ideas floated, and but I don't see it happening. Do you, Bill?
Man, even if we're on walkers, I think it will never grow old. And so we'll see what happens. I mean, my idea is they had John Wayne on a horse and he had 50 different names. What they wanted to see was John Wayne on a horse. What they want to see is Crew Jones on a bicycle. At this point, I'll fall off a bicycle if I got on one. But that character is iconic, and there is a legend, much like Robin Hood, that I am Crew Jones, that there's a real racer out on the circuit named Crew Jones, and I'm not making this up.
Wow.
So it's taken on that kind of urban myth, which is insane to me, but I love it.
Life imitates art.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, guys, thank you. This was such a treat, and congratulations on 38 years of RAD. Incredible.
Dude, it was 40 years ago that we shot that thing.
Wow, fantastic. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Rob.
Have a
All
good
right.
day, guys.
See you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Rob. Bye-bye.